Every great president in American history was a staunch nationalist, probably the worst. Woodrow Wilson was an avid globalist, and it's not surprising that he got us into the single most pointless war in history. Over 100,000 Americans died in the First World War. Despite that, American elites tell us that nationalism is bad. Only globalism is morally acceptable. They say this because nationalism is racist, they claim. But in fact, nationalism has nothing at all to do with race. And if you want proof, look no further than the Democratic Party, which is completely obsessed with race. Literally, people are celebrated or attacked purely on the basis of their skin color. Democrats want jobs, college slots, opportunity itself divided, divvied up based on DNA. This is tribalism, and it's destroying the country. Nationalism doesn't cause tribalism. It is the antidote to tribalism. Rally around the nation and not your tribe. Author and columnist Mark Steyn believes this is obvious, having spent his life traveling around the world and writing about it. But he joins us tonight to reiterate it. So this is so Orwellian because leaving Trump out of it, nationalism is the antidote to tribalism. We're all in different tribes. Ignore our tribes, come together, e pluribus unum, around the country, right?
Yeah, and that's actually how functioning states get by. Your principal identity is that you're an American in America, right, or you're a Swede in Sweden, or you're a Tuvaluan in Tuvalu. And if you weaken nationalism, people look for other identities, and it doesn't matter whether they're racial identities or their religious identities like Islam or their sexual identities. You then, as you say, tribalize the population. And people's subnational identity becomes more important to them than the national identity, and that's actually that's an extremely dangerous experiment, because actually nationalism is the first duty of a government in self-governing societies.
Flesh that out a little bit. Nationalism is the first duty of a government. Why?
Yes, because without it, there's actually no point to being able to elect your leaders. They have a duty to take care of the people they represent. So when you have a situation, which is, you said putting Trump aside, but let's move him back just for a moment. A couple of years ago, people switched on the television and they found that the mainstream candidates of one party were talking about boots on the ground in Afghanistan or Libya or Yemen or wherever's next. And the other party's plan is it actually wants Afghanistan and Yemen and Libya and everyone in those countries to come and move to America to solve, as you were saying earlier, the problem of that they've caused of later family formation, because Americans can no longer afford to form families and have children as young as they used to. The Democrats and half the Republican Party want to bring in foreigners to be a kind of permanent peasant class, reproducing at the rates that they think are necessary for the economy. These are all insane. So, I mean, sometimes that's made absolutely explicit. Angela Merkel in Germany brought in 2 million young Muslim men to be the children that Germans didn't have for themselves. And this is an economically defective way to organize any kind of society.
Exactly. And it's also an abandonment of your core responsibility, which is to your own people, which is the core of nationalism. Mark Steyn, I don't think anyone could have said it better than you just did. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.